Okay, so you guys are not going to believe this. Prince Harry, the ginger royal who escaped the clutches of the firm to live his best California life? Yeah, well, his best life might be about to take a serious nosedive, like straight into the dirt. And it's all thanks to one seriously impressive woman, Dr. Sophie Chandauka. This isn't just some tabloid tiff. This is a full-blown, official charity report detailing alleged lies and financial impropriety. I'm talking potential lawsuits, criminal investigations, the whole shebang. Now, I know what you're thinking. Harry? Little Prince Harry? Surely not. But stick with me because this story is wild. It all revolves around Centabale, the charity Harry co-founded to help children and young people affected by HIV in Lesotho and Botswana. Sounds noble, right? Well, apparently, things behind the scenes were anything but. Enter Dr. Sophie Chandauka, a powerhouse, a black woman with serious credentials, and a family with deep pockets who have been supporting Centabale. She stepped in as chair, and that's when things apparently hit the fan. According to this report, Harry started acting, well, let's just say not so princely. It all started with a statement Harry put out, seemingly trying to discredit Dr. Chandauka. The details are murky, but the gist is, he was trying to paint her as some kind of rogue element. Big mistake, huge, because Dr. Chandauka didn't back down. She went public, accusing him of bullying, financial irregularities, and generally making a mess of things. She essentially said he was trying to destroy her reputation to keep, well, let's call it shenanigans going on at Centabale. And here's where it gets juicy. The Charity Commission, which is like the UK's version of the IRS for nonprofits, started investigating. They didn't exactly clear Harry, despite what his PR team tried to spin. They basically said they weren't investigating individual allegations, which left the door wide open for Dr. Chandauka to drop this bombshell of a report. This report, you guys, it's not pulling any punches. It's a point-by-point takedown of Harry's statements, calling them outright lies. Not recollections may vary, not misunderstandings, but flat-out lies. She backs it up with charity records, documented evidence, the works. It's like she's building a legal case piece by piece, and it's devastating. She accuses him of covertly incurring legal fees, spending charity money without proper authorization, basically using Centabale as his personal piggy bank. And she names names, or at least implies them very strongly. She highlights instances where Harry and Meghan's expenses were draining the charity's resources, suggesting they were living large on the backs of vulnerable children. Here's the thing, the mainstream media is strangely silent about this. I mean, you'd think a scandal involving a prince and a charity would be front-page news, right? But no, it's like everyone's afraid to touch it, except for Dr. Chandauka, who's clearly not afraid of anything. And that's why this is so significant. This isn't just some he said, she said drama. This is an official document, filed with the government, outlining serious allegations of fraud and mismanagement. It's the kind of thing that can land you in court, and potentially even behind bars. And it's all being laid at Prince Harry's feet. He messed with the wrong woman, and now he's about to pay the price. This is more than just a celebrity scandal, it's a story about power, privilege, and accountability. It's about a black woman standing up to a prince and demanding justice. And it's about to get a whole lot messier before it's over. Okay, so let's dive into the nitty-gritty of these lies, because they're not just little white lies, they're potentially criminal. Dr. Chandauka ain't playing around. She's laid out 11 specific instances where she says Harry's statements are demonstrably false, and she's backing it all up with receipts. Lie number 1? This is a big one. Harry claimed that he and other trustees had no choice but to resign from Centabale because of legal and financial burdens. Chandauka says that's BS. She claims that before they resigned, Harry had already racked up over £67,000 in legal fees covertly. Covertly? That means he was hiding it. She's basically calling it fraud, straight up. And she's saying that to keep Centabale respectable, they're gonna have to sue him. Civil and criminal. Jail time, maybe? This woman's got guts. Then there's the whole thing about moving fundraising efforts to the US. Harry's side leaked to the media that the internal conflict was over this, and that Chandauka allegedly sued when they tried to remove her. Chandauka calls that false, too. She says focusing on the US was vital because Harry moved there, and there's a ton of philanthropy from the US going to Africa anyway. It makes sense, right? But Harry's trying to paint her as power-hungry or something. And it gets worse. Remember Baroness Chalker, who was a trustee for Harry's charity? Harry's people told the press she left because of Chandoka's leadership. False again, says Chandoka. She says Chalker retired independently and for personal reasons. It's like Harry's trying to rewrite history to make himself look like the victim. Then there's the claim that Centinela was in stable financial position when Chandoka joined. But then things went south. Chandoka says that's a lie too. She points out that operational costs skyrocketed, eating up most of the money raised. Was it Meghan's wardrobe? Private jets? She doesn't say it outright, but she implies it. It's brutal. And get this. Harry's people claim that Centinela was almost entirely reliant on Harry's image to raise funds. Chandoka says that's also false. She says over 70% of the funding now comes from institutional relationships cultivated by teams in Lesotho and Botswana. Basically, she's saying Harry hasn't been doing jack. And she throws in this zinger. Harry hadn't even been back to Lesotho for 6 years, not since he married Meghan. Ouch. There's also a disagreement over consultancy fees, a whopping £400,000. Harry's side said the charges weren't approved by the board. Chandoka says the Charity Commission investigated and confirmed that the trustees did seek to implement a new fundraising strategy. So, again, Harry's not telling the whole truth. Here's a real kicker. Harry's people leaked that Chandoka wanted a £300,000 salary for her unpaid position, and that her brother worked as a consultant for Centinela. Chandoka says both are completely false. She's served in a voluntary capacity, and no member of her family has received any money from Centinela. In fact, her family has been donating to the charity. It's like Harry's trying to smear her with any mud he can find. And finally, the big one. Harry's spokesperson said the Charity Commission found no wrongdoing on his part and no evidence of bullying. Chandoka says that's a total misrepresentation. She says she accused Harry of poor governance, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, and a cover-up. And she points out that the Charity Commission didn't investigate those individual allegations, so they couldn't have cleared him. She's basically saying Harry's a liar and a manipulator. She even goes after the claim that the Lesotho Children's Center is mothballed because of a funding crisis. She says it's still fully operational, and she calls out the fact that Harry hasn't been there in years, so how would he even know? The last lie? Harry's people said Centinela had to lay off staff because of a funding crisis. Chandoka says it was a planned restructuring program. It's like she's dismantling every single one of Harry's narratives, piece by piece. This is a meticulously documented, scorched earth takedown. And the fact that the mainstream media is avoiding it like the plague? That's suspicious as hell. It makes you wonder who's pulling the strings and why they're protecting Harry. But whatever the reason, Dr. Sophie Chandoka isn't backing down, and that's what makes this so compelling. It's a David and Goliath story, except David's a highly educated, incredibly wealthy, and seriously pissed off black woman. And Goliath? Well, he's a ginger prince with a penchant for lawsuits and a rapidly crumbling reputation. My money's on David. So, here's the deal. Why isn't the media jumping all over this? I mean, seriously, a prince accused of fraud? That's tabloid gold. But everyone's acting like they've seen a ghost. You gotta wonder if Buckingham Palace is still pulling strings, even after Harry bounced. They've got a vested interest in keeping the monarchy's reputation clean, and this kind of dirt ain't good for business. Or maybe the media's just scared of Harry's lawyers. He's lawsuit happy, we all know that. Maybe they don't want to risk getting dragged into a messy legal battle. But still, you'd think someone would have the guts to run with this story. Look, this isn't just about Harry being a bad guy. It's about power and privilege. He's been able to get away with stuff for years because of who he is. He's a prince. People kiss the ring, they don't question him. And he's probably used to getting his way, bullying people into silence. But Dr. Chandoka, she's not playing that game. She's got her own power, her own money, and she's not afraid to use it. She's calling him out on his BS, and she's doing it in a way that could actually land him in serious trouble. And that's why this is so important. It shows that even someone as powerful as Prince Harry can be held accountable. It shows that you can't just use your privilege to get away with anything. And it shows that strong women can take down even the most entitled men. Honestly, I'm here for it. I'm tired of seeing rich and powerful people get away with stuff because they've got the money and the connections to silence their critics. It's time for a change, and Dr. Chandoka is leading the charge. But what's going to happen next? That's the big question. Is the Charity Commission going to reopen the investigation? Are the police going to get involved? Is Harry going to try to sue Dr. Chandauka? Anything's possible. But one thing's for sure. This isn't over. This is just the beginning. And I, for one, am going to be watching closely to see how it all plays out. And you know what else? This whole thing makes you wonder about Meghan Markle, too. Was she in on it? Did she know what Harry was allegedly doing with the charity's money? Or was she just as clueless as everyone else? I mean, she's got a reputation for being ambitious, and she's not exactly known for being shy about spending money. So it's hard to imagine her being completely unaware of what was going on. But who knows? Maybe she's just as much a victim as the children Centibale was supposed to be helping. Either way, this is a disaster for the Sussex brand. They've been trying to build this image of themselves as do-gooders, as champions of the people. But this scandal completely undermines that. It makes them look like a couple of greedy grifters who are more interested in lining their own pockets than helping others. And that's a hard image to shake. Once people start to see you as fake, it's hard to convince them otherwise. So, yeah, Harry's in deep trouble. But so is Meghan. Their whole empire is built on their reputation. And that reputation is now seriously tarnished. I gotta say, though, Dr. Sophie Chandauka is a boss. She's not afraid to take on the establishment, and she's not afraid to speak truth to power. She's a role model for all of us, and she's showing us that even the most powerful people can be brought to justice. So, let's give her some credit. Let's support her. And let's hope that she's able to hold Harry accountable for his alleged actions.